Watch and burn.
Hey everybody. So tonight I am looking to discuss, I think I'll do the Mikado from season 2 of Millennium. I think this is episode 13, 12 or 13. What this is about, this is Millennium's Zodiac episode. Like as in the Zodiac killer, the guy that David Fincher did the movie about that was never caught, killed all those people back in the 60s, 70s. I think the 70s as well, I think. Doesn't matter. In this one, he's known as Avatar, and Avatar was never caught. And it starts off, this episode, oh my God, this episode is so perfect because this episode focuses heavily, on 1990s internet and how we were all online for the first time. The episode opens up with a bunch of kids, a handful of kids in a bedroom pretending to be 18 so they can go to some porn site. And that's when they discover the mystery room, the room that Avatar set up with a victim in it. And he's going to kill the victim. He's going to slit the victim's throat or whatever when the number of views hit the number that he has painted on the wall. And sure enough, it does because the view count is low. It's like 30,000 or so. And when it gets to that, he kills the chick. And that's how the episode opens. And I love that because I remember being there myself. The big website for porn in, say, when this episode aired in like 98 would have been fastporn.com. And you were able to hack the passwords to the fastporn.com because in those days, passwords could be one character. And a lot of the times people would use stupid passwords like God or pencil or sex. Like they talked about in the movie Hackers. Secret, God, sex, and can't remember the other one, the 4 most used passwords. That was sadly accurate back then. You have no idea the amount of people, whether they're system administrators or if they were just regular people who would have their password set as God, like G-O-D, and that's it. So you could hack fastporn.com's the passwords and hand them out to people at school. It wasn't that hard. So it was a big deal. You always lied. It was like, are you 18? And you, yeah, I'm 18, even though you're only like 17 or something at this point, 16 or whatever. And I like that because then again, there it was completely directly relating to this. And this episode is so tech heavy. Brian Rodecker's in this. He's sort of the show's tech nerd, tech genius. And they grant him access to the Millennium Group's supercomputer room with a bunch of not T1, not T2, but T3 lines, which actually is incredibly fast, especially for 1998. And from there, they're attempting to figure out where Avatar is keeping his victims, and it has to do with the Mikado, of course, that's the episode. And it's Avatar's favorite opera, Defer, and all that fuck. I've heard that song so many times. And then it's played in this episode like 10 times as well. It's the only thing I know from the Mikado is the song that's used in this a lot. To the Lord, to the Lord, to the Lord, and all that. I can't remember how the tune goes now because I can't remember how the song goes, but fuck, I've heard that a lot. And it's scary because the mystery room is a terrifying idea because in the years since, through sort of the dark web or, Tor's hidden services, things like red rooms popped up. And I'm not entirely sure if red rooms are real, but the idea of them exists, and that's exactly what the mystery room is in this episode. The mystery room in this is effectively a red room before the idea of a red room existed because people are tortured and murdered in the mystery room. And that's exactly the type of weird, sick shit that apparently happens in red rooms. I don't know. I've never been able to find a red room. I've tried looking for a red room. I've been all over Tor. And maybe I just wasn't slated to find it because I never did. And I tried. I tried for weeks and weeks and weeks. I found that one disgusting site. It was Animals Dark Paradise where the people were raping and torturing dogs. I found that site. That became fairly well known though, and it was called Animals Dark Paradise. That was easy enough to find. I mean, Tor's hidden services are all about link lists. And if you were a kid in the 90s, the idea of hunting for link lists via web crawler or some shit was completely normal. So working the dark web or the deep web, it's not that difficult. Like I said, if you have the pedigree of growing up in the 90s when the idea of having to find a direct link to get taken to a website because there wasn't anywhere like a Google to have, Google didn't exist, so all these websites weren't indexed yet. I loved that, so I was completely able to relate to this. I like how it kind of also sort of turns death into art Avatar is attempting to perhaps say something about society here, because he's using technology in order to broadcast his art, which is very scary. There's an old episode of Miami Vice with the guy from CSI where he killed the girl with the dead eyes, and he actually did kill her, but he got away with it too. Sonny ends up beating the shit out of him at the episode, and that's what, at the end of the episode, and that's what this episode kind of reminds me of at times, is that episode of Miami Vice. It's like how Avatar was able to successfully sort of market the idea of death into the world of digital art. I thought that was really clever. What else did I want to say about this? The idea of it is terrifying. Like, I loved how they had a number of policemen go out with cameras all over the places where Avatar's victims could be from, and Frank is attempting to sort of use his gift / curse in order to feel everything through a number of computer monitors, which again made this very cyberpunk-ish, very hacker-ish, which everybody, like all of us, were very much into at this point. I didn't love how Frank is like, that's my lock, I'm the killer, and he sort of vocalizes that. I found that to be a little sort of cringe-inducing, where Frank's like, you know, that's mine, you don't go in there, I go in there, I would feel this, I am this. And you see like Rodecker's there, and Rodecker's kind of the nerd, and he looks up at Frank and he kind of swallows because he's scared of Frank, because Frank is channeling this psycho. I thought it was kind of lame myself, and I'm glad the show doesn't do that a lot, because, oh fuck, have they done that all the time in the show? Like every time Frank is sort of cluing into what the killer's thinking of, he becomes the killer, and he's like, yes, and then I ate McDonald's, and then I walked over here and I urinated, and then it was from that point I killed that kid, and oh fuck, that would have been horrible. Like, whatchamacallit, William Peterson in Manhunter, or the what's his name? Ed Norton in the remake, Red Dragon, when he's in the tree and he's like, and then you killed them, and you did it, and he's like acting like he's the killer and he's feeling his victim's pain or something. I'm like, that's really cringe-inducing. And that's what they did somewhat in this episode. So I'm glad they didn't do that a lot, because that would have fucking turned me right off this whole episode. And I love this episode. And the way the episode ends is amazing. Avatar gets away again. So I imagine they would have brought Avatar back had the show been allowed to continue. But I just loved that the bad guy gets away. I thought that was so much fun. But then you could also make the argument then at the end of Goodbye Charlie that Stephen Kiley, he got away too. And I always thought he was good, but maybe he wasn't. I don't know. But look, that's where I'm going to leave it. This episode's amazing. The show kicked ass. So like always, thank you so much for hanging out with me for just about 7.5 minutes while I discussed the Mikado from the 2nd season of the short-running kick-ass TV show Millennium. Don't forget, you guys are amazing. I'm getting out of here. Have a good night.